There's a new Katamari Damashi game, and nobody told me about it. I only found out because I was playing an old Katamari Damashi game on stream a little bit ago. Hey, 2Lock Time, that's where the streams are. Twitch, that's where the streams are. Go check them out. And as I exited out of the game, I saw, hey, there's a new Katamari game. So I was pretty excited. So if you didn't know there's a new Katamari game, this is your heads up. There's a new Katamari game, and it's pretty darn fun. We're going to talk about it today. If you want to support the channel, support us on Patreon. This is a weird video. When we do weird videos, YouTube doesn't like it, so please help us out and like the video and subscribe and share the video with other friends who like Katamari Damashi, because we're going to talk about the new game and what they did that I liked, what they did that maybe I didn't like as much, and maybe even do a little media literacy check for you sickos out there. 2Lock the Cardbarians, where the Magic the Gathering stuff is. 2Lock the Barbarians, where the D&D stuff is. I have no idea how I would build the prince from Katamari Damashi in Dungeons & Dragons. Please don't ask me. You can ask, I don't care. So, first of all, what is Katamari Damashi? Because if you're looking behind me and you haven't played it, you might be thinking, what is that? Katamari Damashi is a very simple game. You have a ball called a Katamari. It sticks to stuff. As you roll around, more stuff sticks to it, and you get bigger, and then you can pick up bigger things. The bigger you are, the bigger the things will stick to you, and you do that for 20 minutes, and then you're done with the level. Pretty simple. Even in the past, going through Katamari Damashi games, they don't really deviate from that at all. It's just like, here's your ball, make it big, have fun. Everything's gonna look like a cell-shaded acid trip. Do you like that? The music is always phenomenal, which I think it's almost kind of a given with video games lately. I mean, have you played a video game lately and been like, the music's only okay? No, every game I play lately, I just come to appreciate the music more and more and more. But Katamari Damashi's music is so uniquely poppy and bright compared to a lot of other games that I feel like have a more orchestral or metal inspired music. A lot of metal music going on in games now. Not complaining about it. I love me some metal, but I also love me some fun, bright, poppy vibes, and that's what Katamari Damashi's music brings to it. From a story standpoint, the story in every Katamari Damashi game is the same, and it's basically the same in this one. Your dad is the king of the universe, king of the cosmos is the technical term, and he goes on a bender, crashes into all the stars and destroys them, and you have to replace the stars by rolling things up on your ball and shooting them into space. Once Upon a Katamari, do they change that? No, but a little bit, because now instead of rolling things up in present day, you get to go through a bunch of different time periods. There's dinosaurs. There's feudal Japan. The Ice Age. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! And rolling through these different environments definitely changes up the feel of the game more so than older Katamari games where you would start in a house, and then you'd get slightly bigger in a house, and then you'd roll around a town, and then you would roll the town up, and then you would roll up a city, and move forward until you get to big old kaiju sizes, where you're literally rolling up kaiju. They got kaijus in this thing, and the robot men that fight them. I forgot the name of that because I'm not a weeb, which you could be fooled looking at the gameplay in the background because boy, ain't that some weeby stuff? Isn't this some weird Japanese nonsense that only a weeb would enjoy? Well, sometimes the weebs are correct, and they are very correct in Katamari Damashi being a very, very fun, weird Japanese game. Hell yeah. Also, this game's technically a Souls-like because it's made by Bandai Namco, okay? And there's a lot of rolling. This is basically Elden Ring 2. I don't know what more you could want from this. It's fantastic. Now that everyone's caught up on Katamari Damashi, let's talk about some things that changed in Once Upon a Katamari that are different in terms of gameplay. Ooh, isn't that exciting? So in previous Katamari games, you kind of just rolled up the biggest ball you could. Occasionally there would be challenges where you want to roll up a lot of crab, you want to roll up a lot of bears, stuff like that. But it was always pretty much just make it big. That's it. And I don't really fault the older games for that. The game works. It's fun doing what it is. And what it is making a big ball and becoming a kaiju and destroying cities. I think that's pretty great. However, a little little variety couldn't hurt, and Once Upon a Katamari adds a variety of challenges. There are time trials where you try to get as big as you can as fast as you can, which I know sounds like the basic mode, but you have unlimited time and your ranking depends on how fast you're able to do it. I don't like this mode as much because it stops you once you hit a certain size, and I think most of the fun of Katamari Damacy is getting above the size requirement for the level, still having 4 minutes left on the timer, and just seeing how nuts you can get, just seeing how big you can get. However, I can appreciate a little change to the variety of the gameplay. Another challenge has you trying to get as big as possible, picking up as few items as possible, and that one's a real head scratcher. You got to be very careful about where you roll, which is totally different than how you normally play the game, and I think little challenges like this add a lot to the game and add a lot of variety that I really appreciate. There are like maze type levels where you have to end with your Katamari in a certain spot while getting to a certain size. That one took me an hour and a half. Not because I'm bad at mazes. Kind of because I'm bad at mazes. So, really appreciate the variety. However, I will say that kind of takes away from my favorite type of level, which is just get as big as possible. I played through the game beginning to end to get to the credits, and that took about 8 hours, and I think there was like 5 total missions where it was just get your Katamari as big as possible, and they were all in feudal Japan. I didn't find one of those for dinosaurs. I didn't find one of those for Ice Age. I didn't find one of those for Egypt. And that made me kind of sad, because like, I want to do that. I want to do that in all of these varieties of stages. I appreciate the variety of gameplay types, but I also want to do the thing that I bought the game for, which is get as big as possible. I haven't dove into all the extra content. Again, getting to the credits, I had maybe like 10% Steam achievements. There's definitely more replayability that I haven't unlocked. I just kind of wish that on the way to the credits that there would be more just get as big as possible levels, and cannot confirm or deny that there are more because I haven't seen them. So I will play more. I think Katamari Damacy excels at being just a very fun game to pick up and play. There's a lot of collectibles. You can collect a bunch of little dudes that roll around the ball for you. And they're all adorable, and they're all cute. And yeah, if you like collecting stuff, I think that's something that could appeal to you and keep the game interesting for longer. My problem is that I have never really been about aesthetics in games. I don't care what my armor looks like. In Dark Souls, I will just grab the biggest, thickest stuff. It's why I use the Lionel set all the time, because it's the biggest, thickest stuff you find while you're just running through the basic areas. You know, without going out of the way to get a bigger, heavier set, just grab the biggest, heaviest set because it's the best set. I don't care what it looks like. So I'm not super incentivized as a gamer to go pick up all of the cousins and find where all of the cousins are so that you can roll the ball as them. I found a cactus guy pretty fast. I liked him. Then I found a mummy guy. I was a mummy guy. I like mummies. They're neat. I like the movie The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I think it's neat. But there's another big gameplay shakeup here, and that is the addition of power-ups. We have power-ups, and they are so good. So mini tier list time. That's right, we're putting a tier list into this video, and we're going to talk about all of the different power-ups. S tier, we got the magnet. This sucks in everything that could possibly fit onto your Katamari at this level that you're at, and that makes you bigger, which lets you suck up more things, and it's really, really fun. It's the best power-up in the game. It's the first power-up in the game, and it's the most fun. Then we got the rockets in A tier. They make you go faster. Going faster is fun. I do kind of think the speed feels slower than other Katamari games. I literally went from playing We Love Katamari to playing this one over the course of 2 days, and I do think the base speed is slower, maybe to compensate for this, or maybe to compensate for the levels where you have to be very careful about what you pick up, because if you were going at full speed, that'd be kind of maddening. Then we've got B tier, the scanner that helps you find hidden items if you're looking for different little cousins to run with, or you're looking for the crowns. And that can be very, very helpful. If you're looking for those things, you do need to find crowns in the levels to unlock other levels. It kind of feels like New Super Mario Brothers, where there's like the 3 Yoshi coins. Is that the one that has that? I hope it is, because if it isn't, I just said it in a video, and I spread misinformation and lies, which is terrible of me. How dare I? Everyone comes to these videos for accuracy, so that's my bad. And finally, in C tier, it's the stopwatch that stops time. This can be useful if there's a bunch of guys running around and they're gonna kick you and you don't want to get kicked. But in my experience, I sort of just hit it to get extra time on the level, and it's not very exciting. It's definitely still useful. I just don't think it's all that fun. And that's all the power-ups, which kind of stinks that there's only 4. And it also kind of stinks that the magnet isn't in every stage, because the magnet should be in every stage because it's so fun and it's so good, and all of the other ones are just fine. I like the rocket fine too. The rocket's pretty fun. I think the biggest change I noticed in this one is there's a lot more story stuff. Both in terms of like stories that happen, basically every time you beat a level, you get a little short cartoon of the family cosmos going about things in different eras, basically just being a menace. It's like a little Looney Tunes, Mickey Mouse type short that's like a minute, and they're fun. They're fun little distractions, you know, while you rest your fingers to get ready to start rolling again. But I think the biggest story change is that there are people who have missions for you that aren't just the king of the cosmos. And every level you go to starts with you talking to someone from the area and them saying, hey, I need the help of the Katamari. Now, some of these make sense. You know, there's someone hosting a tea party and you're only at like running around a room size. And he's like, I need help cleaning up for my tea party so that the place isn't dirty. You roll stuff up. And yeah, that makes sense. But then some weird shit starts happening. Weirder shit. Because some of these people want to be rolled into the Katamari. There's this weird disconnect, dark joke of all the Katamari games that as you are rolling around to help create the stars, to help people, you know, because they need the stars in the sky, that everyone runs from you and screams because when you roll them over, they go in the Katamari. And being a person in the Katamari has to be the equivalent of being put into a dryer full of bowling balls and someone turning that shit on because you get rolled. You're gonna get sick, you're gonna get bruised, you're probably gonna die before the Katamari gets thrown into space where you will suffocate and freeze. Best case scenario is that you die from a concussion, repeated concussions as your brain hits the pavement over and over and over again with the Katamari, while all the graphics are very bright and colorful and there's fun sing-songy pop music playing in the background, but what you're doing is terrifying. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when you get to bigger sizes, there's a bunch of kaiju. And you like roll around cities and destroy cities while kaiju are destroying cities. Because that is something that's like fun. There's a part of your brain when you watch a Godzilla movie that thinks, it'd be kind of fun to be Godzilla. Like when you're a kid and you watch Godzilla 99, and that's the first Godzilla movie you watched because you were born in 1994, and that's the first one that showed up for you, and you loved it because it's so cool because there's a big lizard, not the biggest lizard. Now I know that. Again, tastes evolve, but 5 years old, I thought Godzilla 98 was pretty fucking sick because kaijus are cool. And when you're a kid, yeah, the idea of running around and like kicking the sand castle makes you feel like Godzilla. It really makes you feel like Godzilla. And that's really cool. So it appeals to that part of the brain, but like as you do that, and as you watch a Godzilla movie, every once in a while you kind of pause and you go, oh yeah, like 50 people just died because of that. That's probably not good. I think it's always very funny in Godzilla movies specifically where they're like, no, Godzilla's like a good guy. He fights the worst monsters. And I'm like, him walking around town kills hundreds of people. Just him being as big as he is and not knowing where his tail's going as it slams into a building is like 1,000 9/11s. So is he a good, like, oh, we need to protect Godzilla because he's the one who protects us from the worst monsters? Okay, sure. And Katamari Damacy is a lot like that, where like you think, you know, you can argue that you're a good guy because you're fixing up the stars or whatever, but you're kind of a monster and you kind of roll people up. So it's so weird that in Once Upon a Katamari, when you start a level, you will talk to NPCs that are like, hey, we really want to get rolled up in the Katamari. No, you don't, because when the Katamari comes up to you in the level, you're screaming and running away. So what's the takeaway here from a story perspective? That the king of the cosmos is a destructive force. He has a propagandist who is drawing pictures of him doing cool stuff. That's what a lot of the short cutscenes are, is that there's a little paintbrush cousin and the king of the cosmos will do something silly. And then the paintbrush cousin will draw this like epic portrayal of the king being this cool hero. And there's like propaganda going out. He's making propaganda to make the king of the cosmos look cool when like every problem was caused by the king of the cosmos. He just crashed into a bunch of shit because he was drunk and now his son has to fix everything. But the solution to fix everything just hurts people on the ground. And somehow some of these people stand and they want to be rolled into the Katamari, which I think is indicative of the power of propaganda. That's right, it's a media literacy check time. People love to support a destructive king because they don't really realize what's going to happen when that monarchy rolls them up into the Katamari, and that eventually the Katamari gets big enough that it comes for us all.
Message!
It's easy to support the Katamari when you think the Katamari is just cleaning things up, you know? It's just taking care of all the garbage we don't want on our street anyway. But eventually, it's gonna roll for you. And you're gonna scream, you're gonna run away, but you're gonna get stuck in it. And you're gonna get launched. And the king is gonna stay the king. And people are going to keep celebrating the king. People are going to say, boy, I hope the king comes to our town. I want the Katamari to come to our town. We need the Katamari in our city till the Katamari rolls for them. So think about that. And also think about checking this game out because it's really fun. I really love the Katamari Damashi games. And if this game is a big hit, the prince could be in Smash. Yeah, because it's Bandai Namco. It's the people who make Smash with Sakurai. So I want to see the prince as a character in Smash, mostly because I want to know how the hell Sakurai's going to do it. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, that character could never be in Smash. And like, what are you talking about? Like, people are like, oh, how would they even put Dante in Smash? He's got swords and guns. Easy. And a lot of times they're talking power level, right? But we've got Sephiroth in the game now, okay? Who pales in comparison to Kirby, who's on the base roster. Kirby eats galaxies. So yeah, when I say I want to see a character that I don't know how it will go into Smash, I'm talking about the prince from Katamari Damashi. How do you put a Katamari Damashi into Smash? That sounds interesting. That's what I want to see. So support the game. Also because it was made by a small team and I don't think that there was a bunch of crunch on it. It's $40. Again, 8 hours for me from start to finish just to get credits and a lot more content. And I think I want to talk more about games that are under $50 and are made by smaller teams because that's the kind of games I want to play. Like Hades, you know, like Silksong, even though I didn't really like Silksong. I'm going to be playing Expedition 33 soon. So, you know, subscribe for that. 2Lock Time and Twitch. That's where you can find that. Yeah, hopefully you like this video where I just kind of yap about Katamari Damashi for a little bit. And hopefully you enjoy your time in Katamari Damashi as well. Bye-bye. Don't get rolled by the Katamari.